telling me about watching this guy play?
Well, my dad was a running back coach at Notre Dame under Dan Devine. I remember they played Navy. And they had a guy, number 48. He was like a monster back. Tackled by Moeller. Lindsey Nelson on Sunday morning was the announcer. We moved to action further in the third quarter. Tackled by Moeller. Tackled by Moeller. Ladies and gentlemen, Chet Moeller of the U.S. Naval Academy. Here tonight.
You were so good at your position at safety. A lot of people have said that you really reinvented the position and how you played. And your coach there, Glenn Fontes, who you happen to know quite well as a family friend, made a training tape, and we can see today if we punch it up on the internet, of all the plays you made into the backfield. True, Jack Tatum was kind of the guy you were emulating in terms of tackling style, and where did the instinct come from?
Charles, for sure. Jack Tatum, I used to watch. There was only one game on every Saturday at that time, and I lived in Dayton, Ohio. There's a lot of Dayton connections here. I lived in Dayton, Ohio, and we were watching Ohio State, and Jack Tatum could hit with the best of them, and he would punish people. And I grew up wanting to play college football. I was not very big, I wasn't very tall, I wasn't very fast, but I believed I could play. And the Naval Academy gave me an opportunity to do that, play Division I football, along with getting a great education and serving my country, and I took that opportunity.
You got these Dallas Cowboys, you got Haley, you got Coakley. They had a guy named Tony Dorsett, and I remember when Dorsett played at Pitt. I think the week before they played Navy, he had over 300 yards rushing against Notre Dame. I mean, Tony Dorsett, he ran wild against Notre Dame. And then you shut him down, shut him out the following week. You had a broken hand or a broken thumb, you recovered a fumble, you had an interception. Just talk about that game. Shutting down Tony Dorsett, shutting down Coakley and Charles Haley and all the Cowboy Nation.
Tony Dorsett was truly a great back. He was scary. He could run. And we saw that game, that 300-yard game that he put up against Notre Dame, and our defense, we were such a close-knit group, we decided that we weren't going to let that happen. And we just made some adjustments. We had some great coaches, and Lenny Fonts and Rick Lance, and they knew how to defense that. And they forced everything outside to me, and I was just fortunate to be there to make some tackles. But it was a great win for us. Of course, Coach Johnny Majors, who's become a friend recently, he always says, well, they called back a touchdown by Tony early in the first quarter, and he said, you shouldn't have won the game. I said, Coach, no, that's the way it goes.
What's it like, though? What's it like being a Navy cadet? I mean, just being a regular student, the military responsibilities. Just, can you sum that experience up?
The day is pretty long. It starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. You go to breakfast, have formation, and you hit. We had basically when I was a freshman or plebe, we had 18 hours of classes, and that was per semester. And so it was quite challenging. Didn't find a lot of time to read often, but I think that's one thing that the Naval Academy did for me, and has carried on into my life, is that it taught me that I could do anything. And that, along with Coach Dick Hoppy, who's out of Kettering, Ohio, he taught me that same thing, that he pushed me to the point where I could believe I could do anything. But the Naval Academy instilled that discipline in me, and gave me the desire to do my best anytime I was on the field or in the classroom.
Well, let me tell you how big Chet Moeller is at the Naval Academy. There's a player there by the name of Chris Lepore, who was inducted into their Stadium Hall of Fame. All right, they picked a Hall of Fame team of Naval Academy players that played on that field, all right, the Navy Marine Stadium. And Chris Lepore was telling his wife he had just gotten that honor and they would be going back. And his wife went, "Oh, that is so great. That means you get to meet Roger Staubach." And he said, "No, that means I get to meet Chet Moeller." That's how important it is. Ladies and gentlemen.